Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving straight into understanding incident response plans, IRPs for cybersecurity.
Right.
Think of it as getting the inside scoop, really, on how organizations gear up for and, well, deal with cyber attacks when they happen.
Yeah, the preparation and the reaction.
Exactly. Our sources cover, the essential elements of a good IRP, the actual steps taken during an incident, methods for testing these plans.
And cyber insurance, too, which is a big piece.
It is. So, our mission today is to pull out the critical insights so you can understand these proactive and reactive measures organizations take.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Okay, let's unpack this. What are the absolute must-have pieces of a strong incident response plan? What makes it tick?
Well, at its core, an IRP is really a documented set of instructions. It lays out the procedures, the specific people involved, and the information needed to detect an attack and, importantly, limit the damage.
So, a formal document.
Very much so. And NIST, that's the big U.S. government agency for cyber standards, they list key elements, things like the plan's mission, its goals. You need senior management approval.
Right, buy-in from the top.
Crucial. Also, the organizational approach, purpose, scope, how you'll measure success, definitions like what is a computer security incident roles, responsibilities. It's quite detailed.
A real blueprint then. And I remember seeing something about timelines, visualizing it.
Exactly. A good IRP often includes a recovery timeline. Think of like a Gantt chart, maybe.
Okay.
It maps the journey, right? For the first incident report all the way to getting back to normal. You see stages like prepare, detect, contain, eradicate, recover, laid out visually.
That makes sense. You need that roadmap. Now, detection, how do these plans actually talk about finding an attack? What methods are common?
Detection. Yeah, the sources list quite a range. You've got tools looking for known weaknesses, vulnerability scanners.
Standard stuff.
Yeah, but also things looking for odd behavior, anomaly detection, EDR endpoint detection and response.
EDR, that's more than just antivirus, right?
Yeah, much more. It watches endpoint activity continuously, looking for deeper threats, allowing faster response. Then there's file integrity monitoring, log analysis, IDS-EPS systems, even physical security monitoring.
Wow. Huh?
And SIEM tools, security information, and event management, they pull data together from everywhere to spot complex attacks. Plus, threat intelligence feeds, user behavior analytics, it's layered.
Layers are key. But who actually runs this playbook when, something hits the fan?
People are absolutely critical. The IRP has to define roles, responsibilities, team structures. Smaller places might have one central team.
Makes sense.
Bigger, maybe geographically spread companies. Distributed teams. Sometimes you have coordinating teams pulling people from different departments.
And just having people isn't enough, I guess.
Definitely not. You've got to consider, are they available 24/7, full-time responders, or part-time? How do you manage burnout? It's high-stress work.
Yeah, I bet.
What's the cost? And, crucially, do they have the right skills? Sometimes outsourcing parts of it is the answer.
So expertise is a big factor.
Huge. And these teams often do more than just fight fires. They might educate staff, send out security warnings, share threat info with other organizations.
Okay. Plan, tech, teams.
Got it.
How does an organization know if something is just a glitch or a genuine cyber incident? Is there a clear line?
That's a really important distinction the IRP must clarify. It defines events, adverse events, and computer security incidents. The key difference for an incident is usually malicious human intent.
Ah, okay. Example.
Sure, a user connecting to a server, that's an event, normal stuff. A user trying to connect using stolen credentials, that's likely a computer security incident. Recognizing that triggers the right response level.
Got it. So once an incident is identified, what are the typical response steps?
There's a widely recognized flow, usually around 7 steps. It starts with preparation, having the plan ready. Then detection and analysis, figuring out what's happening.
Right.
Then containment. This could be technical, like isolating affected systems, or non-technical, like briefing employees.
Okay, stop the bleeding.
Exactly. Then eradication, actually removing the threat, cleaning up. This might even mean rebuilding systems, potentially losing data.
Ouch.
Yeah. In erratic, purporting tailoring communication for different groups. Recovery, bringing systems back online carefully. And finally, post-incident activity or lessons learned. Analyzing what happened, updating the IRP.
That last step sounds vital.
It absolutely is. You have to learn from it. And organizations often tailor these steps based on attacks they think are likely, like DDoS or phishing.
So the plan exists, but you need to know if it actually works. How do they test these IRPs?
Testing is non-negotiable. Common ways are simulations, often called tabletop
It's
exercises.
like a walkthrough.
Yeah, verbal walkthrough of a scenario.
Yeah.
And then you have penetration tests, pen tests, where they actually simulate attacks to probe the defenses.
Okay, more hands-on.
Right. They also track metrics. Things like mean time to detect MTTD, mean time to acknowledge, contain, repair, MTTA, MTTC, MTTR.
Lots of acronyms.
Huh, yes. But they measure performance. After a real incident, there's a post-incident review. They also do periodic audits, continuous monitoring, red flags, seeing incidents happen more often or getting worse, taking longer to fix.
Or costing more, hurting the reputation.
Precisely. All signs of response might not be up to scratch.
This all sounds like it could get expensive, the response, the recovery. Which brings us to cyber insurance. How does that fit in?
Cyber insurance is basically a financial hedge. It helps cover losses from attacks. Think business interruption, being unable to operate.
That can be huge.
Definitely. Also, cyber extortion, like ransom payments, incident response costs paying experts to come help fix things, replacing damaged systems, legal fees, even PR costs for reputational damage.
Interesting. But I guess insurers don't just hand out policies without checking things.
Oh, absolutely not. They usually have strict requirements. They want to see proof of good security practices.
Like what?
Background checks,
Mhm.
compliance with rules like HEPA or PCI DSS, a tested disaster recovery plan. Employee security training phishing tests are common.
Makes sense.
Also, clear company security policies, maybe an independent risk assessment, a solid IRP. The better the plan, maybe the lower the premium.
Ah, incentive.
Right. Good IT controls, firewalls, IDKCPS, antivirus, access control, multi-factor authentication. Sometimes they mandate pen testing,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll definitely look at your loss history.
So it really pushes companies to be proactive.
It does. It's another driver for good security hygiene.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it really sounds like having a comprehensive, well-tested incident response plan, maybe backed by cyber insurance, is just fundamental for organizations to manage and, crucially, recover from cyber attacks today.
That sums it up well. Preparation and a clear practice response are essential in the current threat landscape. It's not really optional anymore.
Right. And that leads us to a final thought for you listening. When you hear about all these complex strategies organizations use, the planning, the testing, the insurance, what does that make you think about your own digital security? What steps might you consider knowing how the professionals approach this? Something to ponder. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive.